Hey, it's a guy
And a girl.
and a microphone, and we actually have two microphones very far apart this time because coronavirus freaking pandemic, which we'll talk about later on. But it's been a whole hot minute. How are you?
I'm good. It has been a minute because I went to Disney and then coronavirus hit. So I mean, we haven't even seen each other in what is it, like a month and a half?
It's funny because you and I saw each other, like we had lunch the day that the president announced that there were going to be some restrictions that happened that night. We grabbed lunch that morning, I guess, and just kind of caught up about your trip and all of that. And then all of a sudden, nobody can go outside, and we're still waiting on the zombies. Is basically where we're
Yeah.
at now. I should say,
I love the memes where it's like I thought my apocalypse, outfit would be better and it's it's like no, we're just in pajama pants and sweatshirts and t-shirts and we look like homeless people.
well, that's an important question. Have you switched from your work pajamas to your uh, like leisure pajamas for the day, or are you still in work mode?
No, definitely in what I woke up in this morning.
Everybody's got their AM
It,
and PM pajamas now, so you got to be careful with that.
no, I don't. I mean, I kind of was preparing for the coronavirus since I quit my job. Like everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so different." And I'm like, "I was doing this for a month before coronavirus hit. Thank you very much." Cuz Mitchell is essential. So, nothing's really changed in our life. Brennan and I stay home. Mitchell goes to work every day, but
Oh gosh, Kels is used to this. The rest of so if we need a point of reference, we just ask you. Like a month ago,
yeah.
what phase of this were you in a month ago? We've we had You know what? Let's talk about Disney first. I want to do Disney. That's more exciting than talking about how dreadful the coronavirus in 2020 have been. How
Okay.
long were you guys down there?
We were in Florida for 4 days, but we went to the parks for two. So
No.
like two days were for travel,
Oh,
and
okay.
then the 2 days in the middle were just we were at the parks.
All right. So first and foremost, how did Brennan like it?
Oh my gosh, he loved it. He loved it. I will start off by saying because we were talking about how many days we were there. If when we do Disney World again, we will plan a day in the middle for like relaxing and catching up on like sleep and letting our feet rest because we were at a pretty cool hotel. It wasn't one that was like a Disney resort hotel, but it was a little bit off of the resort, but close enough that we could still shuttle. But it had a really nice like water park in the middle of it, and it was a really good price too. So it would be nice to be able to just kind of have a day in the middle of the parks to rest because day two was a little rough. Brennan was a little tired and a little snappy, so we had to deal with that. But other than that, it was really good. Day two was our favorite, and because we got to go to Toy Story Land, and it was amazing. It was worth every single penny for him to meet Jesse from Toy Story. That's his favorite.
Yeah, you had a really cool video of like it was Woody and Jesse, and Woody didn't really need to be there.
No, he didn't.
It,
And Brennan, we dressed him up and we met. Like the first thing that we wanted to do, because I wasn't sure since he's two, if he which rides he'd be able to ride, that sort of thing.
mhm.
So, like our main goal when we went to Toy Story Land was to make sure we sought out those three characters because I knew that they had meet and greets for them, and so we dressed Brennan up in his Woody costume from Halloween, and we waited in the line, and it was probably, I don't know, about 45 minutes. We weren't there at a super busy time, but it was about 45 minutes to wait there. And then when we got to the front, I was like, okay, Brennan, look who you're going to meet. So that way I only had like 10 minutes of antsiness. But we got close enough to where he could see him. And when it was his turn, the like handlers of the characters, because of course they can't see through their masks and everything. So they
What
told
masks?
us
I don't understand.
they told us when the characters would wave at us, that meant we could go over. And so when Jesse waved over to Brennan, he just like darted out of my hands and just ran over and gave her the biggest hug. It was the best. It was worth every single penny.
Poor Woody was just standing there like, I have a cowboy hat too. I'm
Yeah.
cool, right?
Yeah. We're dressed the same.
Look at us.
Can I get a high five?
No. No, you cannot,
Nah.
sir. You are no Jesse.
Yeah. Yeah.
What other things stood out? Like, do you have a different plan if you go back? When you go back, do you have a different idea of, or some advice for people that might be getting ready to go of things to do better?
Yeah, well, the biggest advice I think would be, especially if you have little kids, the day in between parks was really good for us, or would have been really good for us to just kind of hang out by the pool and it just be a little bit more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Also, so Brennan has a really like comfortable, one of those strollers that I was a first time mom and really didn't need to spend that much money on it, like a jogging stroller that's super comfy. And I was like, yes, let's take it because he'll be able to nap in it. It like reclines. Well, most shuttles don't allow big strollers. And when I say big strollers, nothing bigger than the umbrella stroller. So when we went, we found a hotel that we could shuttle from the airport to the hotel. And then we made sure that we could shuttle from the hotel to the parks. So we didn't rent a car. We did take our food and our lunch every day. So Mitchell had to go to Walmart. We knew that going in. But when he went to Walmart, we had to spend an extra $30 on an umbrella stroller that we could take to the parks because our huge jogging stroller that was just a cluster to bring, to the airport and get on and off, the initial shuttle to the hotel. We didn't really need to bring that. We could have just got the umbrella stroller. So I would say make sure you have one of those if you're not going to rent one at the park, which we didn't. It was still cheaper for the 2 days that we were there to buy the umbrella stroller. Sure. So Mitchell had to Uber to Walmart and he got the stroller and he got food for us. That I will say was super convenient because it is so expensive to go to Disney, one, but it is very expensive to eat there. The only thing that we bought in the 2 days we were there, we did get a Coke and we bought Brennan really wanted ice cream, so the three of us got ice cream. But other than that, we packed our lunches and we got 2 bottles. One bottle, I'm great with water, like I love water, but Mitchell and Brennan I knew would want like lemonade or we ended up getting those like Kool-Aid enhancers so that they could have grape Kool-Aid those 2 days because water's free. They have water fountains everywhere, so all they had to do was add that a couple of drops and then it turned into grape Kool-Aid for them, and then I just drink water all day. So that was really convenient. I would suggest that if anybody's going, pack your lunch, whether you have to Uber to Walmart or if you rent a car and you can go to Walmart yourself or wherever you want to go. We got bread and stuff for breakfast at the hotel, but we just ate lunch meat sandwiches and fruit while we were at the park and for lunch and dinner, and it was really easy and super cheap.
Way easier and cheaper than trying to get into one of the restaurants and definitely trying to pay for it. That's it for sure.
And that was another thing. Like, I mean, if we were hungry, we didn't have to stand in line. And right. If we were hungry while we were waiting the 45 minutes to get on, Peter Pan's flight, I just opened up the backpack and had a bag of chips or gave Brennan a banana. You know what I mean? Like that's where we ate. We didn't necessarily have to go to a restaurant and sit down, and we did that occasionally. But if we were hungry in the middle of waiting for a ride, that's where we had food.
Nice.
So it was really easy and it saved us time.
Now, you guys also did something really cool at the park that some people may have seen on social media, but you made a big announcement while you were down there.
We did. Brennan is going to be a big brother. We are super excited. We waited until we were past the first trimester to announce it to everybody. Right now, actually, I'll be 19 weeks tomorrow on Thursday. So, yeah, we're about halfway there, which I can't believe. This pregnancy is like flying by.
How's the nausea these days?
Oh yeah, super. Freeman knows this. You know this, but not everybody else does. I was so sick to my stomach for the first trimester and actually a little bit into the second trimester. Like I remember coming into record one day and like you might not remember this, but I was like sitting there in my chair and you're like, "Are you going to make it? Are you going to make it?" And I'm like, "I just stop talking to me. Like stop talking to me."
I definitely, that was the first thing that came to mind. We were going to record one night and she just sat in the chair and like held her head down, but there wasn't a trash, like the trash can was through me. So if she had to throw up, it was either going to be in the floor or on me. I didn't know which, but I was concerned. Now, did you have a lot of morning sickness or was it just nausea?
It was just nausea, thankfully. Yeah,
Yeah,
I never once,
that's
yeah,
nice.
I never once got sick. Yeah, because it was a constant thing. So a lot of people are like, well, that's better than getting sick. Well, I was nauseous the whole day, like every day for 8 weeks. And there was nothing like that would make it better. And I was starving because, you know, I'm growing a tiny human. But if I ate, it just made me more sick. And it's almost worse when you're nauseous because there's like no relief ever. So thankfully I'm through that. But Brennan, I wasn't like that. Like if I could have bottled my joy when I was pregnant with Brennan, I would be a millionaire because I was so happy and I was never sick. Like I had the best first pregnancy. I did gain a lot of weight, but I was so happy all the time, probably because I was eating whatever I wanted to. This pregnancy, I'm very emotional. I cried because Mitchell gave me a Big Mac the other day and I was starving and I thought it was so sweet that he sacrificed his Big Mac for me. Bawled my eyes out. And yeah, I wasn't nauseous the first time. It's weird that pregnancies can be so different.
Have
You don't
you,
understand that, but
no, I have no concept on that one. Have you started nesting yet?
I think that it's a combination of having so much time because of coronavirus. Because I joke that nothing really changed for us. I mean, it's not like we can go to the grocery store or go to the playground or anything either. But I think it's a combination of being pregnant and getting ready for this new baby, plus not having anything else to do. So yeah, I've been cleaning the house, like everything.
And you guys aren't finding out what you're having, right?
No, no. And let me tell you, you don't realize how many people you don't like until you try to name a tiny human. And then on top of that, when you decide, you make the brilliant decision with your husband to not find out the sex of the baby, that makes it double hard because now we have two genders to go through and decide what name to name this tiny human.
So my suggestion would be just put names that you sort of like or that you can live with for both genders. Put them in a hat, pull them out, and just call it good. Just be like, that's
And
the
just
name.
go with that.
We're rolling with it.
Okay, okay.
I don't think that's happening.
No, that's not gonna happen. We can't even agree on names. I mean, and they're so, like, I like kind of unique and meaningful names, and Mitchell's like, ooh, I really like this name just because of the sound of it, and it just, we just can't even agree. Like, Brennan was easy. We liked the restaurant. Again, back to me eating everything in sight when I was pregnant with him, but Brennan is named after a restaurant in New Orleans, and we both liked the restaurant. The Eggs Benedict was great. So we're like, cool, that's an awesome boy name. Let's go with that. It was really easy. It's not easy this time.
Well, I think there's an easy option out there. You can name him or her, I guess, quarantine or virus or COVID or lockdown, pandemic.
COVID.
COVID. That would be a really cool name.
COVID. I'm not quite sure about that. Well, I'll add it to the list just for you.
Speaking of the pandemic, sorry, I'm getting all choked up thinking about baby names over here. Speaking of the pandemic, though, what is your most quarantine story? Like, I know you've been pretty hunkered down, but has anything happened where you've just been like, yeah, that is the most coronavirus thing that could ever happen?
Well, when everything started, like when everybody started going to the stores and everybody started going to the stores and buying everything at the grocery store, I was down to a roll and a half of toilet paper at home. So the store shelves are empty, and I just want like the worst sandpaper toilet paper, just enough to get me by.
No, you don't.
And you can't find. I wasn't being picky. Like, you couldn't find toilet paper anywhere. So we were on the phone with Mitchell's grandma, and she mailed us 6 rolls of toilet paper and wrote a poem. She used to be a second grade teacher, so she wrote a poem for us. It was very sweet. I mean, it was the most. I never thought that I would be so happy to open up a package and find 6 rolls of toilet paper in it.
So Chelsea and I actually saw Mitchell at the store when he was looking for toilet paper.
That's right. Yes, you did.
And we had just bought, so going into all this, the day that I saw you last and we had lunch, I went that day to the JC here in town, which is a local grocery store, and bought a couple of things, including a 6-pack of toilet paper because we only had 2. I think it was 2 rolls in house. And then I went back because that night they announced all the changes and everything. I went back a couple of days later. I think it was the following Monday when they announced Indiana's restrictions. And I was going to stop. I wanted to get some meat and stuff for dinner. All the toilet paper was gone. There was no meat in any of the meat cabinets. All the produce was still there because nobody likes vegetables. But I came home, and Chelsea at the time was running a fever, and so she was self-quarantined. But we needed some things, so we go down the interstate to the Walmart, and it's the same thing. We just wanted, like, ground beef, and we wound up buying frozen hamburgers. We wanted some pork chops. We got the last package. We wanted eggs. They didn't have any. So I feel you there, but you know what? We don't really need toilet paper. You just hop in the shower when you're done.
Oh my gosh.
We still haven't gone through our first package, the one that we bought right there before everything happened. We still haven't gone through that, so I don't know. Maybe we're just more conservative wipers.
Mitchell finally found, so his grandma, it's of course, this is how everything happens, but she sent us those 6 rolls. And the day that we got those in the mail, he found a 6-pack of toilet paper at the store. He actually found 2 of them. And the caring person that my husband is said, no, you know what? Some other husband is out tracking down toilet paper for his family. So we're just going to get by with what we need and get this 1 6-pack. We still haven't gone through that either. And it's been a month, I think, since all that happened.
Your family and my family are the only ones going, you know what? We don't need everything at the grocery store. Everybody else is just piling it up. Yeah, I think that was probably pretty high on my list of stuff that happened, was going in and just seeing the shelves bare. We've seen some pretty weird stuff. Although this weekend, Chelsea and I we're planning to go back to Tennessee for the first time since the beginning of February. It's just been too long at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was like, do you think you'll be able to get through Kentucky? And I hadn't been paying a ton of attention, but apparently the governor of Kentucky didn't want people from Tennessee coming into Kentucky because they had so much coronavirus down there. So I may be stuck.
Are they building a wall?
I don't know if they're building a wall. I don't know if, like I said to him, I don't think they can close 65, can they? They have to let me on the interstate, don't they? But I guess we'll find out when we get down there. It's definitely.
Well, I mean,
they
have to let truckers and stuff on 65. So I mean, shoot, just Freeman, work yourself and take your pant leg up and get a ride, hitchhike with a trucker at the last truck stop that you can.
Look at them legs.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't.
And Chelsea can cheer you on as you do it.
I don't know. I think the whole thing it's been kind of surreal because, like, we go to church every Sunday, but we've been doing that on the internet. We tried a small church here in town, and that didn't work out. The guy yelled at me. So it's been,
What?
oh, we haven't talked to, so we went to this little church here in Edinburgh, and I refuse to name the name of the church or the pastor, but we went to the church, and he said some things that I knew were not, like, biblically accurate. So Chelsea and I leaned over. I was like, hey, let's go ahead and go. We had never been to this church before. We were just trying it out. And he said some stuff I didn't care for. I didn't want to be there and listen to that kind of stuff without going into a ton of detail. But we stood up and we walked out to the back to leave. And he said, this is what happens when you preach the truth. And I started to open the door, and he said, don't leave, friends. Stay and hear the truth. And I just said, hey, thanks for having us, and went ahead and left. And then he said, you see, right here in the small town of Edinburgh, even in this town, people are offended by Jesus Christ. I was like, oh no. It's a really good thing he got to meet 2020 Freeman and not like 2015 Freeman, because we might have gone toe-to-toe in the middle of the sanctuary. But since then, we've been doing church from home, and we've been ordering in, or I don't know. Life just feels weird. I've had to do my show from the closet for a few days. It's
Yes.
just, everything's been weird.
Yeah. So when I left, when I left my job and, I wanted to become a stay-at-home mom, I had all these plans for me and Brennan. And, as soon as it warms up, we're going to go out and do this, and we're going to go to the park. And my in-laws for Christmas, I loved it. They bought us an annual pass to the zoo. And I was like, at least once every 2 weeks, we're going to go to the zoo, because my family lives just outside of Indianapolis. So I was like, we can go up there and spend some time throughout the week with my parents, and then go to the zoo. And my father-in-law just recently retired, and my mother-in-law sells real estate, so they could come down and meet us at the zoo kind of whenever they wanted. And that, like, all those plans, obviously that's not happening. So, that is kind of the weird part for me, because I was like, we'll go to the park and we'll play outside all the time. And
Nope.
we've been doing some stuff, like he has a swing on our porch, and, we can color with chalk outside. But, I'm pregnant and I have asthma. Plus, I've got a 2-year-old, and my husband does still go out to work. So I'm really trying hard to limit, obviously, my interactions. I do kind of miss grocery shopping. I like going to the grocery store, and I haven't been in, well, since they officially told everybody to stay at home.
I just miss other humans.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
I don't think it's been
Not
this
seeing
long.
other people.
Right. I don't think I've gone this long without, like, physical contact with another human other than my spouse in, my adult life. So it's definitely been interesting. Now, before we finish up, is there anything that's just been really good about being quarantined or locked down or whatever we are right now?
I feel like just being able to, like, I don't take for granted the times that I am talking to somebody. I think that I've talked about this on our show before, but once a week, my family, my parents, my 3 sisters, and their families, we all get together at my parents' and we have Sunday dinner. And so we spend about 4 or 5 hours with each other every week. And I really desperately miss that. But now we have a family group message that we've had for a really long time. But we've done some, like, family FaceTime sessions, and it just, like, I don't take those for granted now. I'm really interested in the, like, this sounds terrible, but I'm really, like, focusing on our conversations because, like you said, I just kind of miss human interaction. And I feel really bad for my grandparents, because my grandparents watched Brennan. They did when I didn't work, and now that kind of was cut down, obviously, when I started staying home. But I still let Brennan go over there so I could have a day to do laundry, and it didn't completely change his schedule, so it didn't alter his life. But, like, my grandparents haven't seen him in over a month, and it's really hard. So I don't take for granted those interactions now. And I know I won't in the future either.
I think that's a big thing. I think we'll all probably take things for granted less, like being able to go see a movie or go to a ball game or a concert. Like every concert and every sporting event should be sold out for the next 2 or 3 years while we remember the time that we lost over the last month. I think for us, it's just the best part has been an opportunity to slow down. Like Chelsea, on Monday, I came home and she had baked, I have no idea how many chocolate chip cookies. And it's because she had the opportunity to do it. And like some of them were for the girls in her high school life group, and some of them were for us. And then she baked some to put in a little baggie and hang on the doors of all our neighbors, and just wrote a note on the back that said, we're here. We're in apartment 6. We wanted to do something nice for you guys. If there's anything we can do for you, anything we can pray about for you, drop us a note in our mailbox or stop by. We're almost always home. And we gave those to everybody here in the apartment complex and the people that live next door to us. And it was something that we've talked about doing, but not actually done. And I think that's what we've had the most opportunity to work at, is like, you talk a big game about doing this or doing that or reaching out to people or helping people or whatever. We had a couple in our life group, and I'm not going to mention their names, but the husband was a presumptive positive for COVID-19. And so he had to isolate on one side of the house, and they have a 9-month-old little boy, and the baby started running a fever the next day. And so like it just hit home how scary that would be to be in that situation, but how like you can't do the things the way we were before. But like in their situation, our life group bought them groceries and gave them a Kroger card to make sure that they were taken care of. So there's more opportunities to help people right now. It's more important to help people right now, and just like reaching out and touching bases in those ways, praying for people or whatever it might be. I think that has been really rewarding during all of this. And so maybe we don't see each other as much, but maybe we care about people more right now.
And the conversations seem to mean more because you can't go see them, but the reason that you're reaching out is because you care so much,
Exactly. And like just taking the time. I have some people that have texted me, and just taking the time to text. You just have no idea what that means to people right now. So reach out, send a Snapchat, send a text, send a Marco Polo, but get in touch with people, because that's what really matters right now. And I mean, the thing I keep telling people every day on the radio is at some point it's going to be okay. And Mr. Rogers says, you'll love this, he talks about when things are scary and things are hard, his mom used to tell him to look for the helpers. So like when all this is going on, look at the doctors and the nurses and the teachers that are doing e-learning, or people that are donating to pay mortgages for people that are out of work right now, or whatever. Look for the helpers, because there are a lot of people out there doing good work right now. So we're going to get through this, and it's going to be fine. And on the other side of all this, Kelsey's going to have a new baby.
I am. I do hope that this stuff is at least slowed down by September, though. That is, I will say, one of the scariest things for me is bringing another life into this crazy pandemic world.
We'll be fine by then. I have faith.
We'll get through it. Yes, we'll get through it.
Well, you have a great rest of the week. Stay safe.
You too. I definitely miss our face-to-face, but I'm glad that we're able to get this done and we're back at it again.
I'm super excited, especially now that we can do this. We'll do this again next week. This has been a guy,
a girl,
and a microphone, and we'll see you later.